He is Mark Hilliard. He is the president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. Joins us once a month to talk about things of various natures having to do with the business climate and the way that things operate here in Indiana County. I know there's a big event happening today at Blue Spruce Park, isn't there?
Yes. It's kind of an immediate event that they're going to be discussing some of the issues with broadband.
Yeah.
So, I know that's a big topic around the county.
Mm-hmm.
And,
so this is with the governor's office, county commissioners, all of the big players.
County office, yep. Everybody's going to be involved with it, and there are other issues that I think are going to be brought up there as well. Mm-hmm. But the one that people around here are most interested in is rural broadband, and it's not an easy answer because there's a lot of communities that are dealing with the same thing, but. Yeah. Like some relief, especially in some of the outlying communities in Indiana County, it's difficult.
It's part of the conversation that IUP's president, Michael Driscoll, brought to the chamber board meeting last week. He was talking about rural broadband and a recent study of just how up and down it is in Indiana County. There are areas that have no coverage, some are very good.
Well, and it was part of what Dr. Driscoll's point was that there was a recent study that had been done on the federal level all throughout the country, and this recent study basically took a lot of that data and said, well, that's wrong. The data is not quite as rosy as you're making it out to be. Not that they painted a rosy picture, but this recent study said how many areas really are affected, and not just in Indiana County, but all over it, and kind of showed that data was... I don't want to say misleading, but the study wasn't as effective. Correct.
Yeah. So that was one of the items brought up at the chamber board meeting last week. A couple of other things I wanted to highlight this morning. That broadband discussion is just going to get bigger and bigger.
Yes.
You have a business education summit that you're working on with area schools.
Correct.
That's coming up. How's that going? I know you're in the planning stages now.
We had a meeting yesterday morning up at ICTC with the county superintendents, and we had some of the guidance counselors sit in on that as well, because we are working on a program that we're hoping to have, and it looks like it will be in the schools this year in relation to soft skills. And we had been working closely with the county guidance counselors on this program, and we're hoping we wanted to finalize some of the details. And then in early August, we're trying to settle on a date right now and coordinate with the administrators and the school districts to make sure they're available so that we can officially unveil this to kick off the summit, and then begin to talk on some other issues as well. So we wanted to make sure that if we had a summit, we had sort of something to show from the last two summits that were held last year, and we wanted to make sure that we were able to make some progress in some of the issues that were talked about, and this soft skills was absolutely one of them. So we're really excited about that program, and we'll end up talking more about that when we officially kick it off, and certainly we'll invite the media there for that. But then the other issue we start to get into, what are the next steps, and internships and job shadowing, and finding ways to get some of the students on the job sites, and that's going to be one of the keys that we have to work on. There's quite a few more hurdles in trying to accomplish that, but it's something I feel needs to be done.
So you had the meeting yesterday, and I'm sure that much more will be revealed when you have the actual summit, when you can really go head to head and find out, okay, here's this school district doing this to help develop soft skills in students. This one's doing that, and what can be done maybe collectively.
Actually, the program we have is going to be in every school district. It's going to be one of the most comprehensive programs. I think we would be the second, to my knowledge, we would be the second county in the state to adopt a program that would be a county-wide soft skills program, and we'd be the first one where all the school districts would be operating under the same guidelines to pass the program. So it would be a volunteer program. It's not going to be a mandatory thing, but it would be something for juniors, students beginning in their junior year, that they'd be able to enroll in, that could give them a little bit of notoriety and kind of another mark on their credentials when they do graduate, as far as being designated as passing this program. And we're also hoping to get many, and we already have spoken to many of the businesses and the top employers, get them on board so that they recognize and support it, because they have a desperate need. for individuals who possess those skills. In fact, they'd rather have that than people with experience right now because they just need people who want to show up to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Byron Stauffer was talking at the board meeting about some employment opportunities that may come to Indiana if talks actually produce the fruit that they're expecting that they could. And those soft skills are you've been here before talking about the fact that you can have experience, you can have great talents and skills and education in something, but if you don't have the ability to show up on time, if you don't have the ability to work with others and all of those other skills that must be taught in this day and age, then that's really what companies are looking at.
It's funny because I talk to more and more companies that stress that, and they say the only way you can advance in their company isn't through hard work or experience, and sometimes even longevity. It's how you work as a team. We just had a meeting. We went out to Urban a little under a month ago, earlier, I think it was at the beginning of this month, where we took a trip out to Gap, PA, and visited that facility and took a tour. And Tom Moonen, who is going to run this facility, was there and showing us around a little bit as well. But they were discussing, and a lot of these guys who were given the tour, they have leadership roles within that company right now. They started out with zero experience and started out doing a job they didn't understand, but they were good team players. They worked hard. They showed up. They really wanted to create a sense of family, a good team atmosphere. And if you followed along, you moved up quickly. And a couple of guys were 30-year-old guys who just started right out of high school, and now they're pretty high up within the company. But that's an example. He said you don't need experience to come and work here. We just want people who are willing to come and work hard, communicate well, and interact well with the team members. And if you can do that, your chances of advancement are great.
Mark Hilliard with us this morning. He's the president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. We're talking business and industry and all kinds of things. You also have an interesting thing coming up a little bit later in the year as we get toward election season. You're planning a candidates forum.
Yes, and I wanted to mention here, I'm going to pull my calendar to make sure I get the correct date, but in relation to that, we have our Eggs and Issues event that we finally settled on a date for that come August, so I'm pulling that up now as we talk. But one of the things that was brought up in our government relations committee was being able to hold a forum, and this is a unique year for Indiana County in terms of the election because we have so many seats that are important county seats up for grabs in terms of the commissioners, the district attorney, the sheriff. There are some really tight races out there. So the landscape of the leadership in the county can change pretty drastically here, potentially, over the next few months. But we had been addressed and been asked if the chamber would be willing to host a forum and not a debate per se, just more of a sort of a question and answer with each of the candidates to get their opinions and their stance on various topics that would be important to some of the business community. Now, we also want to recognize the community as a whole, so the public would be welcome to attend that event. But there are a lot of topics that the business community sometimes feels aren't addressed when with some of the other forums that are out there, and we want to be able to provide that voice, being the Chamber of Commerce, to be able to solicit questions from that community and from our chamber members, and to be able to ask the candidates some of these questions. Now, they may not, some of these are on a state level, not a county level, but there certainly is a role that a lot of the county offices can play. And so we're excited about that. We think it's going to be a very good event and certainly something I think the candidates are going to embrace. And I think both the Democratic and Republican committees will both be, so they both sound supportive of the event so far.
So Eggs and Issues is when?
Thursday, August 29th. So that's Thursday, August 29th. It's at the KCAC, and registration starts at 8 o'clock. So there'll be more information coming on that. But we did just secure that date and got all the politicians to mark it on their calendar. So they'll all be there. Petrarca, Dush, Struzzi, Pittman. So we're Pyle. So we have all the politicians coming to that event. We're excited about it, and just mark it on your calendar.
All right, very good. Wow, look how fast this time went. I know you might have some other events that you want people to know about.
Well, I can be pretty quick about it. We have this Saturday, it's Indiana County Night at the Altoona Curve. It's a doubleheader, so if you buy a ticket for one game, you get both games for free. We'd encourage you to, and proceeds will benefit Citizens Ambulance of Indiana County, so we would encourage you to get your tickets for that. We are partnering with the Star Spangled Celebration, the Chamber is this year, which is on July 4th at Mack Park Fairgrounds. So if you're a Chamber member, the one thing we've been able to work out with them as being a partner is Chamber members will get preferred parking. So we do have some parking passes. If you contact the Chamber office, if you are a Chamber member, we'll get you your parking pass, and you'll get basically VIP parking for that event, which will be very, very nice with all the crowd that will be there on that day.
Sure.
And July 11th, we have another business after hours at the Fountains of Indiana. So trying to rush through all those events, but we got a lot of things coming up.
Yeah, absolutely do. Very good. And 1 o'clock this afternoon for that event at Blue Spurs.
Correct.
Very good. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Todd. Good to see you.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1